back to another Coffee with Carrie. First off, I want to say all the comments from the previous video really have made my day. I've been reading through all of them and just going through each one and hearting all of them and reading them, and it's really made my day. I've really been struggling with just like sharing that side of me for a really long time now, and it just helps to have support. So I want to thank you so much. As for answering some of your questions, some of you asked, have you already started a gluten-free diet? And yes, I have. I've already started a gluten-free diet. I've also already started pulling some things that they thought might cause inflammation in my diet. I have to be careful though. A lot of you asked stuff like, have you gone vegan or have you done vegetarian? I have to be careful about that and really go with what my doctor kind of says, because there are certain elements right now that we don't want to shake up just because of health reasons. So I do need like a protein every day, and I also, what was the other thing? Some things I have to be careful about eating because of kidney stones too. So I've been working through diet as well as going gluten-free, which has been a huge adjustment. In fact, I went to the grocery store yesterday doing gluten-free, and it really frustrates me because the grocery store, all the things that were gluten-free were nearly sold out. And so it's really frustrating trying to do a diet change, and then when you go to the grocery store, they don't have what you need. So I've been cooking a lot on my own. My husband's been cooking a lot. He is so amazing. He's been cooking me meals that are to make sure they have no gluten in them. So that has been very helpful. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, is doing a slight diet change, as well as I've been really tired recently because I've been trying to add more exercise into my lifestyle. So before I was doing 2 to 3 times a week of exercise. Now I'm trying to do 5 times a week, and I've added swimming into that. So I'm doing a lot right now, and that's mainly because one of the things that with depression, the best thing you can do is get yourself out there, push yourself to do stuff. So that's what I've been doing, and trying to overcome that anxiety, as well of pushing through and getting myself out into the world and doing stuff instead of just staying cooped up inside and just kind of wallowing in my own sorrow. I've been trying to push myself out. It is not easy. I had a mini panic attack this week, just thinking about going to the Y to go swim. I don't know why, but getting in the car and going there is really difficult for me. But once I get there and I start swimming, I love it. I absolutely love it. But getting there is a different story. So I know some of you probably would relate to that, so I'll just share that with all of you. Another thing that really sucks is moving of that appointment. A lot of you voiced that, like, oh, it's so frustrating that appointment got moved. We are working through that right now. Hopefully I can get that appointment moved further up into the new year instead of having to wait until the end of February. Mid-February, end of February for that appointment. Fingers crossed. So we're hoping about that. But yeah, hopefully we can get that pushed a little bit further to the new year. So another thing that one of y'all suggested that I share whenever I feel comfortable, and I do feel comfortable sharing it with y'all, but you asked me to share, what does my art therapy or my art kind of journey look like at this moment in time? And I would say for everyone it's really different, but for me, what I like to do is find one central location. So for me, it's the couch in my living room, and I usually either listen to a video, listen to a podcast, or listen to music there, and I just draw. And I draw whatever comes to mind, and I draw whatever I want to. And a lot of times it's just scribble. So a lot of times I don't share it with y'all because it's not, in my opinion, good. But it helps me process. So it just helps me kind of work through previous memories or work through just how I view myself, is another thing. So a lot of my drawings recently are starting to have meaning behind them, whereas before I was just kind of drawing to draw. Now they have more meaning behind them. So I would say that's one big thing that's been a difference since going through this particular journey. So one recent drawing that I did in my notebook that I decided to basically paint was this particular one right here. It's a little girl in a scarf and she's kind of hiding her mouth, and basically it looks like this. But I basically drew it in blues because I was really depressed that day, so I did a monochromatic painting. But I felt like in a lot of ways during that period of time, I felt like I had to put on this appearance that I was fine, but I felt like my voice was hindered. So that's kind of why I did the scarf hiding her mouth. I just kind of felt like I didn't have a voice, and I felt like I had to constantly put on this appearance that everything was okay. So that kind of came out in that particular drawing there. But usually what happens is I just feel like drawing an animal, or I feel like drawing, I don't know, it's just weird random stuff. Sometimes I feel like drawing a tree and stuff, and it just comes out in a different way as I'm like drawing it. I realize I'm processing through that drawing in some fashion or some way. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight of how I've been going about with my art journey with kind of art therapy. A lot of times it's either drawing, I'm not really painting, or I'm swatching, because I feel like mentally there's a lot of junk going on in my head, and so trying to actually do a complete painting right now is very overwhelming for me. That's the reason why I did more of the coloring book approach in the previous video. So if you haven't watched that, that's kind of another approach that I've been doing recently, to just kind of allow myself a little bit of a breather. And that's something that I have been trying to remind myself. Basically, there are seasons in life, and this is a season for me where I need to just kind of give myself a break and allow myself to process and really work through a lot of the junk that is inside of my head, and just allow myself a breather and a break. So that is something that I've been trying to remind myself, is that there are seasons in life. And just like there are seasons, you know, to nature, where sometimes things need to take a break and they need to take a rest. There are seasons in life too where you need to pump and push and push and push yourself. And then there are seasons where you need to just take a break and allow yourself to rest. And right now I'm currently in more of a rest period, but at the same time working through a lot of the foundation, I guess. So it'd be almost like a crop in the fields. It looks like nothing's happening and it looks dead, but at the same time there's a lot of stuff going on in the soil and just kind of ramping up for the spring. That's kind of where I feel right now. I feel like I'm working through a lot of stuff that's under the ground that a lot of people can't see. And even me, sometimes I'm like, is there any progress to this? But as I kind of look back and I kind of start digging, I'm like, yeah, there is process to this. We are working through this. So that's kind of what has been going on in my life this week. I hope you enjoyed this kind of short little video for this week. Let's come up with a question for this week. Since it's close to the holidays, what kind of things do y'all like to do as kind of a thing that makes you happy during this period of time? So for me, one thing that I absolutely love to do is drink peppermint mocha coffee. There is something about, it's the weirdest thing. It's like a cup of joy. There is something about having a peppermint mocha coffee that just makes me so freaking happy. And I was so upset a couple weeks ago because I was like, oh, I can't have my Starbucks anymore because I don't think it's gluten-free. And we found this coffee online called Crazy Cups, and it's gluten-free coffee and it has a peppermint mocha in it. So I've been using the Keurig and making my own peppermint coffee with gluten-free coffee. So recently that has just been like a little cup of joy in my hands because I absolutely love coffee. I love flavored coffee of any kind really. So anyway, that is my little cup of joy during this particular season. Is there anything that you find as your little cup of joy, whether seeing lights or some sort of meal or drawing in a book or journal or hanging out with friends? Leave that down in the comments below of just things that you like to do during this period of time, especially if you feel depressed. Putting yourself out there and doing something that you enjoy is really, really good to boost that confidence and boost that feeling of everything's gonna be okay, which is basically what I'm trying to hold on to. It's not happiness because happiness is very fleeting, but just this feeling of everything's gonna be okay. And if I can just survive day to day, I'll be a-okay. So anyway, lots of love, y'all. I will see you soon, and make sure to leave a comment down below and like this video.